a river conservation group focused on clean water and fish in the Rogue Basin. And we work on that a number of different ways through enforcement and advocacy, community action, and field work. So this is a map of the proposed project, and essentially what the multinational energy companies want to do is tap into fracked gas that's being piped in from actually Canada and the Rockies into this station. There's a pipeline that comes into Malin right here called the Ruby Pipeline, and they want to connect the Pacific Connector Pipeline and travel up through southern Oregon to Coos Bay, liquefy the gas, put it on tankers, and send it to Asia. So the Rogue Basin is right here in the middle of it all, and this pipeline would actually be directionally drilled right underneath the river, as well as the Klamath River, the Umpqua River, the Coquille, and the Coos River. So we're pretty concerned about the impacts that it will have on those waterways. A little bit of history about this project. This was came about actually in 2005. Energy companies proposed to actually import gas into the country via this terminal and pipeline. And we were a little bit skeptical when this started out. Obviously, Riverkeeper got involved with a number of other organizations. But we were a little bit skeptical about the true intent for this project, being that it was import and fracking was kind of just blown up and no pun intended, and just kind of wondering why we needed to ship gas in when we had this surplus. So in 2011, the companies basically divulged their true intent for the project, which was in fact export. So instead of bringing gas in, they wanted to send it out overseas and through southern Oregon. So the coalition that we are part of, this group here, continues to grow and fight this project and another one which Dan will talk about that's up in northern Oregon. So project impacts, obviously there's a lot of impacts that are going to happen with this. People fighting for the project, obviously it's going to bring a lot of jobs, and it's going to bring revenue to a lot of the counties that it passes through. It's probably going to create about 150 jobs in Coos Bay at the terminal and the power plant, and then about 2,000 temporary jobs on the pipeline through construction. However, we're not really sure if those are going to be locally sourced, all of them, or if they'll kind of bring in the labor for those. So these areas are depressed, and we definitely need jobs and that side towards that type of thing. But we believe that a jobs at all costs mentality is not the way to go, especially here in our state. So impacts that it would have: it's threatening roughly 300 landowners, many of them with eminent domain. It would basically clear cut a 100-foot wide, 235-mile long swath through southern Oregon on public and private land. It would cross nearly 400 rivers and streams. It will increase fracking. It will increase methane emissions, which enhances climate change, and a number of other things, decrease fisheries in Coos Bay, and potential really catastrophic, hazardous impacts like pipeline breaks and earthquakes and all kinds of stuff. So concerns are definitely pretty strong. The current status is that the full applications for export were submitted this last May and June, and the proposal has gone through environmental scoping. Right now, we're kind of awaiting the draft environmental impact statement, which was slated to come out in December, and then they said early in the year, and now they're saying kind of the second quarter, so potentially April, May, maybe June, which will be the big one, as well as a number of other permits through DEQ and those types of things where we'll get people out for hearings and commenting. And this project is also number one right now on the list with DOE for non-free trade agreement export approval. So it's kind of a big deal. So Riverkeeper is really fighting it through grassroots organizing. We're staying legally engaged at every possible opportunity, which I'll let the ladies talk about later. But really trying to organize around this with the communities down in Southern Oregon, and a lot of that was done when the import proposal came through, and then there was kind of this lull period where nothing much was happening, and so unfortunately some of that momentum kind of dissipated, and so we're kind of trying to come in and really reinvigorate all that and move forward on it. So that's it.
Yeah, so my name is Dan Sears. I'm with Columbia Riverkeeper, and I'm going to try to give a very quick 5-minute overview of Oregon LNG and what's really a brewing states' rights battle around whether or not the project would move forward. So the Oregon LNG project, like the Jordan Cove project, was initially proposed to import liquefied natural gas in huge volumes and involved a big pipeline that was going to go through the Willamette Valley. In 2011 and 2012, that picture started to change, and they finally moved towards admitting that they actually wanted to export liquefied natural gas. So again, the kind of backdrop for all of the story is this big bait and switch, where for years the LNG industry, at this, we would come here and talk about LNG export as a potential, and then we would get this blowback saying, oh, you guys are making it up, it's crazy. On Riverkeeper's website, there's a great video that has one of the originators of the LNG export theory, Louis Dykstra, who I've got to give a shout out to. There's also a bunch of people in the room who know a ton about this. Forrest, Julia, obviously, Nate Matthews and Sierra Club is here. Francis was here, and Leslie is in the back. So, and Rhett Lawrence with Sierra Club as well. So we've got a lot of folks here who are engaged. This gives you a sense for where Oregon LNG is proposed, as opposed to Jordan Cove down in Coos Bay. Oregon LNG was also in 2004 one of the very first LNG import proposals in Oregon, and has faced stiff opposition ever since coming to town. Both is import and export, and this gives you a sense for where the gas will be coming to. The fracked gas coming from fields in the Rockies and Canada. The two proposals are saying that most of the gas will come from Canada. That's not entirely clear when you look at their filings, though. So this gives you a sense for how the community of Warrenton would be impacted by this LNG terminal. It's right at the mouth of the Skipanon River, the east side of the Skipanon. And this is Warrenton. This is downtown Warrenton. So what you see here are depicts the 3-mile risk area. If you had 10% of an LNG tanker spill and release its fuel and it vaporized, so liquefied natural gas is negative, what is it, negative 260 something? Yeah, it's a cryogenic fluid, and the second it hits the water, it's going to turn into gas, and it's going to impact the entire community. So if it doesn't find